Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 149 for July 22nd, 2015. My name is Russell Frost, and I am your cruise director for this week.
Nice. Good. I need an umbrella drink.
Shuffleboard on the Lido deck, everyone, in 2 hours. So, just so you know, and I am lucky enough to have with me this week no less than 3 of my favorite panelists, starting with Mr. Evan Fusco.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I am back rested from vacation, hence the cruise reference, and glad to be back on the show.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah.
Iceland was amazing, a geothermal wonder.
It was fun. We did the old family thermal pool bit and had a great time. Got to see a different part of the world than we'd seen before.
Yeah, and I love looking through all 3,417, as I recall, of your vacation.
Oh, he's uploaded another 1,200.
Ah, cool.
No, not quite that many. I did add my iPhone photos to the collection to make it complete.
I think it's unique that there were so many pictures of EVs.
Yeah, well,
random EVs.
You know what? So we could talk about that actually on the show, but I will tell you, especially Norway, Norway's particularly interesting in that their economy has flourished because of the oil industry. They are, for the size and population of the country, one of the largest oil-producing nations in the world, and their economy has just exploded. Now, it also makes them one of the most expensive places on the planet, but because of the money that they have coming in and the way they've managed it, they've also been able to do other things like diversify their energy sources, and now they're really making one of the biggest pushes anywhere in the world towards a fossil fuel free energy system, and they are really supporting electric vehicles. So even though it's really expensive to buy a car, it's something like a 80% tax rate on a car purchases there. They're able to subsidize EVs, so it's relatively economical for people to buy EVs there, and we saw them everywhere. I lost count of the number of Teslas. There are Leafs that seem to be the most dominant vehicle there, and then all these other little cars I'd never heard of before that run on electric. So that was really interesting. We saw quite a few in Denmark. We saw a few even in Iceland, which surprised me a little bit, and I saw at least one Tesla every country we went to, with one exception, and that was Scotland, because we were only on one little island with a population of 30,000 people and nowhere that they could actually possibly even put a Tesla service center. So I think that's the only reason we didn't see one there. So it was pretty cool to see that many EVs around the world. Relative to what we see around Nixon, Missouri, there were a heck of a lot.
It's a low bar.
Well, although he hasn't traveled as far, he is still a very well-traveled man. Let's welcome our man from Oregon, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello from Oregon. For my tidbit this week, Portland is the only major city to have a dormant volcano within its limits. There you go.
I didn't know it was within the city limits. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yep, Mount Tabor.
Nice. Very nice. And last but not least, our most reflective panelist, our longest-serving panelist, maybe? Can we say that?
Sure, why not?
Go back to episode 1, dude.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Let's welcome Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. My tidbit for the week, I've already started drinking.
That's a well-known fact.
Yes.
And I see we've gone back to Fat Weasel.
You know what? There are very few that I will buy a 6 of, but after drinking it last week or the week before, I decided I really like this. So I got the Fat Weasel Ale. It's very good.
Nice. Very nice. Well, let's get this show rolling with 2-minute topics. Should I ask who wants to go first?
I think Evan already did his Norwegian 2-minute topic.
I think so too.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's go to Patrick.
Sure. So for my 2-minute topic, I have a story from carswithcords.net, and you guys might know who writes there. Yep. So the story is that Portland is getting a new electric avenue. So Portland State has had an electric avenue project there for 3 years, and it shut down earlier this month. And our new electric avenue is going to have their ribbon cutting on the 28th of July. It's on Southwest 1st and Salmon. It has 4 DC fast chargers, and those are combo chargers that have CHAdeMO and CCS, so they'll work both with the Japanese cars and the US European cars. And additionally, they have 2 80-amp level 2 charging stations. There you go. That's my 2-minute topic.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Connor. Mr. Schaefer.
Hey, Patrick, are those 80 amp J1772s?
Yes, level 2 J1772. They're from Clipper Creek.
Okay. Did they consider Tesla chargers, since they're donating chargers to pretty much any business that'll put it up?
There are some destination chargers already, Tesla destination chargers in downtown Portland.
Okay.
So if you get to Portland with your car, you'll be okay.
It's pretty easy to get to Portland. Yeah.
Not if you live
There's
in
a lot of... Maybe not.
It's a long drive. Okay,
Right.
back to Tony Schaefer.
Yeah, except now I have to sneeze. Okay. All right. I just got past that
That was
one.
great
Okay.
timing.
I know. I was like, okay, stall. So,
Ooh,
I
sweet.
forget where this came about, but this is a tulip. It's the tulip. They define it as the ultimate vehicle for the modern city. It's ultralight, zero-emission, small and nimble personal transportation machine. Now, the interesting thing about the tulip concept is that their plan is to simply sell the platform. So what they say is they have this aluminum palladium platform. It's 3 wheels, and on top of that, you then get to put it together the way you want. So they have different shocks for an urban environment versus a rural environment. They have different, types of what they call, camouflage, the skin you can put on it. Let's see, I already had the red one up. So here's a blue one. And, this is all still concept, and, it doesn't really exist yet. Say what?
You think that's concept?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what they say is 3 kilowatt lithium-ion battery, which will be good for about 62 miles or 100 kilometers. And I don't see it going very fast. They don't give any specs on speed. But I just thought it was interesting. It's just one more attempt at the personal, personal mobility thing. So that's it. It's called Tulip, and you can find them. I don't even know their real website, to be honest.
Well, that's okay. We'll probably never hear from them again.
Yes,
Probably not.
exactly.
Probably not.
Once this art project has been graded, yeah.
Yeah, right. I just thought it was interesting enough.
No, it is. It's interesting. I just like the way that it's like presented as a convenience feature. Like, we just sell you the frame. You have to decorate it.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that was the thing. That was one of their approaches, was instead of trying to create designs and manufacture things which, might be suitable for people. Actually, so what it is the way they explain it on this website, which is at core77.net, which I don't even know what that is. The whole tool-up concept was you buy the frame and then you buy the skins to put on top of it. And you get to customize the entire thing. It's sort of like that commercial for, was it the Moto phone or one of them, where you go through and you can pick the color and the camera and you can have it engraved and the face can be this and the button could look like that. And that's really what their concept is. Instead of trying to design something for everybody, they sell you the bare bones and let you piece it together, and then you place the order. You get the whole thing. I'm not just saying that you just get the frame. It's just that you get to, you get to skin the whole thing yourself.
All right.
But that wasn't really the thing. It's a three-wheeled, 62-mile concept, of course. But
the two-lip.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It looked fun.
So I want to start my 2-minute topic with an audio selection from courtesy of Beat, and then we'll explain. Bless you, Patrick.
It's going around.
Yeah.
It's supposed to mute when I put this thing up, but I guess it didn't.
Well, oops. So excuse us. Here comes some other audio.
Prepare to attack. Prepare to attack on the count of 3. 1, 2. Late! What happened? Where are they? I don't know, sir. They must have hyperjets on that thing. And what do we got on this thing? A Cuisinart? No, sir. We'll find them, catch them. Yes, sir. Prepare ship for light speed. No. Light speed is too slow. Light speed too slow? Yes, we're going to have to go right to ludicrous speed. Ludicrous? Sir, we've never gone that fast before. I don't know if the ship can take it. What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? Prepare ship! Prepare ship for ludicrous speed. Fasten all seatbelts. Seal all entrances and exits. Close all shops in the mall. Cancel the free-range circus. Secure all animals in the zoo. Give me that, you petty excuse for an officer. Now hear this. Ludicrous speed. Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this. Ludicrous speed. Go!
Nice. Ludicrous speed. Okay, so before to leave myself 30 seconds, why do I play that little bit from the Mel Brooks film Spaceballs? Because it was all over the news this week that Tesla is offering a new, and I quote, ludicrous speed upgrade for the Model S, which I think makes the second stupid name for a power mode in a Tesla motor car. Can someone, for the love of God, please, can we get a better name than insane mode? Or
how long have you been a grumpy old fart, really?
I have all my life.
If you haven't been paying attention, this is what Elon does, and it gets attention, and it sells cars, and it's just fun. He is a self-proclaimed nerd. He loved comics. He loves computers. He loves this nerdy stuff, and it's part of the product. It's part of the attraction to the product, and that's why the stereo goes to 11, and it's all part of the game. And grumpy old farts won't like it, but you know what? Most people do. And if he can get this much footage and publicity out of choosing a cute name and then teasing the maximum plaid for a roadster that we're not going to see for 3 years. Man, I love it, and I think it's fun, and what the heck.
I got to tell you, I didn't even know the stereo went to 11.
It does.
It does.
Oh, yeah. Great. And there's the James Bond mode hidden in the air suspension.
Right.
It's all part of saying we don't do things the old way like the old players do.
Yeah, we could go back. We could be a Chrysler, and stick to square cars with standard shifters and stuff too. But that's not what Tesla is.
No, I don't want to make them not fun. It just, you see this stuff in the news, and it's just like, oh God, please. Because the next story is like, Tesla driver rips own head off in acceleration. I want to start seeing stories like this, I mean, Tesla driver, exceeds the speed of sound, and somebody will Photoshop a sonic boom disturbance in there. I get it. It's funny. Let's move on to some serious news. How's that? My grumpy, serious point was fairly well.
Got the old fart part.
Hey, you punks, get off my podcast.
Well, speaking of get off of my cloud, Toyota. Well, let's not blame this on Toyota because we don't know that Toyota's connected to it at all. Green Car Reports. Our friend John Volker reported yesterday. And I'll quote his well-written headline: "Next Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid to have 30 to 35 miles of range."
Source.
Okay, so here's the important part of this article as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to read 2 sentences. Quote, "In general, journalists dislike anonymously sourced stories. They don't let readers evaluate the source, and they offer less accountability if the information proves to be incorrect." Now, John's a great guy, and we're friends, but honestly, there's so many anonymously sourced stories in the media anymore that I'm not even sure how he could write that first line with a straight face. The second sentence is absolutely correct, and although there are sometimes important things reported anonymously, there's a lot of crap reported anonymously that's then denied, by the same anonymous source. So, guys, what do you think? 30 to 35 miles? Has Toyota rewritten the laws of physics?
I gotta tell you, when I sent this information to John, I thought he would take it as a joke. So I'm just as shocked as you are.
Wow. You didn't think it was like April Fool's?
I know, right? But hey. No, I don't know. Is it possible for Toyota to take the first generation plug-in Prius, which of course was in the 3rd generation model, so we have to differentiate between the plug-ins, to take the current model plug-in, which gets 11 maybe on a good day, couldn't even go 6 on the test cycle without the engine kicking in. Could they possibly really go from 11 to 35? I question that personally. Love to see it. I'd love to see it, but I doubt it.
So I think it's possible if they took a more Tesla-like approach and allowed the batteries to deplete further, and they used a more advanced lithium-ion battery. I think it's doable, but I don't think Toyota would do it. I don't think they would risk the battery life. They're too conservative in the way that they handle those batteries. I don't think they have the battery management technology and comfort level to use the full capacity that they're capable of.
I just hope this article shames them into doing the right thing, and they actually come out with it, whether they were planning to or not.
Turns out John didn't have any source.
Right.
Spreading it all over the internet, and
exactly, he's daring them to do something they don't want to
him.
So here's the thing for me. Now, there's a 4th gen Prius coming out, but we don't know what it is. We don't know what it looks like. It's going to be a different platform. And will it be as different as the 1st and 2nd gen were? Or is this going to be more of an incremental change like this between the 2nd and the 3rd? We don't know. We have no idea. Is it possible that the platform has changed enough to allow them to make a plug-in version that would actually be able to achieve this? And my gut says no way.
Well, my gut says they have a chance to go back to the drawing board and actually build this car with better battery, bigger battery, plug-in in mind. So maybe, just maybe, they are doing this. But I do have to agree that Toyota has been increasingly hesitant to do anything battery related, EV related, and I think we'll talk about that more later on the show. I do have to kind of take I don't want to say issue, but just kind of a different approach to what Evan said. He said that Toyota doesn't have the battery management or the courage to go that deep, or something. I forget exactly now how you said it. Go to the tape. Yeah. But the one thing I will say, Toyota does have the battery management. I think they could do it. Instead of staying in their 40 to 60 battery range, I think they could go 80 to 20. But I think you're dead on that they don't have the courage to do it. They are too risk averse to actually broaden the battery range.
Right. I would agree with you. I don't think they call it spine, call it courage, call it senseless, reckless, abandoning their basic principles that have gotten them where they are, which is a good thing because they build really rock-solid vehicles that last a long time and do exactly what Toyota says they're going to do. So,
and things like this taxi, that's Prius taxi that's gone 600,000 miles on its first battery, simply reinforces their conservative stance.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and you look at competitors' hybrid products that don't do that, and namely Honda.
Right.
You know, Honda got sued, a class action.
Honda
for their batteries, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's keep talking about Toyota because I just don't get enough Toyota.
I thought it was Tesla.
The day before this plug-in story came out, on July 20th, Toyota hit a milestone. They began taking pre-orders for the Mirai, the hydrogen-fueled fuel cell vehicle. And yay.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure everybody across the country heard about this. It was all over the news.
Where the phone lines jammed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought this was a show about cars, not unicorns. Come on.
Yeah. The one phone was busy.
So, okay, guys, $57,500 is where this car starts at.
Yeah.
Do you think? And look at. They've already said they're selling what, half of 1,500 here over the next 2 years or something. Because Japan's getting half first. We're talking about a very low production vehicle. It's only being sold in California. There's only half a dozen filling stations for it right now. Honestly.
Yeah, and you say it's only being sold in California, but it's really only being sold if you live close to one of those filling stations. So it's even worse than California.
Right. Well, with a 312-mile tank range, you're hoping that you live within 156 miles. There we go. Yes.
You have just enough to drive back and forth, and that's it.
Right? At least fill up for free.
Yes. Because hydrogen's everywhere. Hydrogen should be free.
Excuse me. The Toyota's limiting production to 3,000, of which I believe they said half of which were coming to the United States. It will be interesting to see if Toyota does any kind of press release that says how many of these things they've actually pre-sold. And I'm going to be very fascinated to hear what owners have to say about this car. Now, tracking those owners down, all 5 of them, finding those owners and getting opinions from them could be very, very hard. Somewhat maybe like locating their mythical fuel source.
Yeah, to say it's a long-range vehicle you just talked about driving from Tennessee to Oregon. You can't do that. It doesn't matter even if it has 300-mile range. That's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Missouri, Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
Evan, Patrick just said you lived in Tennessee, dude.
No.
That's all right. It's close. You touched it.
Oh. So, okay. Do we care? Is there anything?
I have a hard time caring about this right now.
Okay, well then let me bring up another story about the Mirai, because I haven't pounded it enough.
There's more.
There's more.
Wait. Was reporting on the day, on the 20th. They actually had a little interview or some kind of information exchange with Craig Scott, who's the National Alternative Fuel Manager at Toyota, and there was a couple of things in here that I shouldn't at all be surprised, because it's right in line with everything that Toyota said. But let me quote part of this. In fact, the very first part of the very first statement from Mr. Scott. Quote, we don't see any battery technology that would allow us to ... give customers a comparable driving experience at a reasonable price. We don't see anything for the next 10 years because if there was something in the laboratory today, it would probably take 7 to 10 years to get into a production vehicle. With batteries, there is a fundamental science problem that we don't know how to solve.
Oh my
All
God.
of which sort of ignores the fact that there are tens of thousands of electric cars out there on the road.
I'm sorry. Tesla will hit 100,000 Model S's delivered in the next month.
Well, Model S wouldn't qualify according to that definition.
What definition is that?
They're talking about a car that's affordable.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
of 55,000
But it
hydrogen.
still addresses his fundamental problem. I mean, it is affordable.
Isn't there like 200,000 Leafs on the road in the United States?
Right. That's a better example. And then we have. So he's also saying that GM's never going to make the Bolt, and that Tesla's never going to make the Model 3. Or if they do, it's going to be 15 years from now, not 4 or 5 years from now.
Well, I think, you know what, I took a different spin on this. I took this that he created the mythical triangle. Is that something, whatever? Yeah, here we are trying, yes, the heart, trying, the dodecahedron.
It's a unicorn.
Yes, yes, in which, I'm pretty sure that was a
We're all
penis.
flashing gang signs now.
It seemed to me that he was trying to create the scenario in which it was affordable, battery, rapid charging. Oh yeah,
And
extended
long range.
and long range.
Right.
So I think where he was saying batteries fell short was the rapid charging. He's saying, sure, Evan gets 300 miles with his Model S, but how many hours does that take?
1.
And how long does it take to drive to one of the 6 hydro stations in Southern California?
Right, and then, but I mean, his point was, you compare that to the 3 to 5 seconds that it takes you to put gas in a internal combustion engine or hydrogen in a hydrogen fuel cell. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm simply trying to put it in context as to what he said. This was my interpretation, is that he was ticking off whether hydrogen or batteries more closely resemble what people are already familiar with.
Here's my interpretation of what he said. Is we don't see it. We don't see that technology anywhere. We can't see anything in the future at all. I don't know why, but I can't see anything.
That's right. Hey, I tried. You can't say I didn't try, man.
The new Toyota Ostrich coming out soon.
That could be the spokesman for the Mirai.
They need a mascot.
No competition.
That is it. That would be perfect.
Toyota, just send the check. You know where I live. Thank you. So, okay. So there's nothing dishonest here, but maybe it's shade disingenuous.
Yeah.
He's not outright lying. He's not saying battery vehicles don't exist and blah blah. But it's kind of slippery. It's kind of like in choosing the definition. And other people from Toyota have said that batteries are perfect for urban small distances, which is right. But how do you define? Is 100 miles range? Is that a short urban vehicle? That's actually a pretty decent commuting vehicle.
All I know is he had to say about 10 Hail Marys after that interview.
So you might be able to argue that there are some compromises with charge time or battery expense, but what if you compare it to a plug-in hybrid today? You have the refilling time that you want when you're out on the road. You have the distance you want if you want to drive across the country. You have all the advantages of low electric prices and charging at home, starting every morning out with a full battery pack, being able to do urban driving on electricity only. There's nothing that a fuel cell vehicle offers today that hybrid plug-in hybrids don't already give you. Even if you look at carbon, since most of the hydrogen is going to come from natural gas, you're still driving on a fossil fuel.
Right.
So even there, you can have a better carbon footprint with a plug-in hybrid.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when with 30 to 35 miles of range.
We'll see. I hope.
I just keep having in the back of my head that I pray that this is smoke and mirrors by Toyota, and they really are working on something else in the background, and they just don't want to come out yet until they're ready. That's got to be the truth of this
I'm
thing.
with you on that. I really am. I really hope, and it has come up in multiple articles I've seen that no one has so far generated, built more batteries than Toyota, or done more battery research than Toyota. And
Right.
yeah, I really hope that they're still pursuing it, that they've got something in their back pocket and they're just stalling. I don't know.
Well, they have a cash cow in the Prius, and if they come out with something that's plug-in or pure electric, most of the people that would buy that are the people that would now buy a Prius. They're going to end up looting their own market, and they don't want to do that.
I have a hard time buying that. It's Apple. I refer to Apple when
Realizing you're on that truck.
when they introduced the iPad and people said, well, don't you realize that you're just cannibalizing the MacBook? Steve Jobs said, I don't care. I'm going to sell 3 times as many iPads as I would have sold MacBooks. I'm still going to make money.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing they're worried about cannibalization.
Right. If Steve Jobs ran Toyota, maybe that wouldn't be a problem, but he does not.
Toyota would rock if Steve Jobs ran Toyota, that's for sure.
Guys, Steve's dead.
Well, he might still do a better job.
Oh! Yeah.
Wow.
All right, we're done, folks. We're out.
Wow.
Wow. Mic drop. All right. Patrick Connor. Well, speaking of mic drop, I'm out. Late last week, Toyota announced they were recalling 625,000 hybrid vehicles worldwide, of which 109,000 Prius Vs in the U.S. were affected. This affects model years between 2012 and 2014. It's a computer software issue, not a big deal. They go in and they flash your software and it's fixed, but it's kind of it's a little stumble for them because...
Kind of a big deal.
I'm sorry?
I said it's kind of a big deal.
Is it?
Well, you've got a software glitch that'll overheat your hybrid system and shut down your car. And even if it only affects 109,000, that's 109,000 cars.
Well, potentially.
So all I could think of with this was, if this was Tesla, it would have been recognized early. They wouldn't have had to have a big ordeal about it. They would have sent a software update over the air that would have happened overnight, and nobody would have even known about it.
Until a week after, in which case people would have said, oh, hey, Tesla just pushed out an update.
No, they don't even tell you everything in the updates. You
yeah,
kind of highlight. They send out updates all the time for like updated versions. I'm on version 6.251 right now. I started on 6.050, and I've had like 4 versions of software version 6, and they don't change the list of what's changed, what's new. They don't tell you all the little glitches and stuff. They just fix them.
Yeah,
your
but
car's better the next day.
There are people that decipher every one of those for any clue they can glean out of it because they just love to talk about it.
Yeah, and there are pages out there that have some of that and seem to sniff out some of it, but I think there's a lot going on there that they haven't sniffed out.
Yeah. Listen, Evan, I mean, I think that's a great point. And in a much better car world, all car companies are doing these over-the-air updates. I mean, we've all complained on this show for years about not updating software in vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's a tragic thing to do to a vehicle owner to spend $20,000, $30,000 or more on a car and then sit with software that's 4 and 5 years old as the car ages. Or more.
And on top of that, though, this feeds the whole dealer service department network that much more, because now you're going to have 100-something thousand vehicles in that Toyota's going to now have to pay to flash this software update. I'm sure at about an hour charge per vehicle, and so it keeps that little service thing alive and costs Toyota extra money, or they could do it for free over the air overnight while you sleep.
Right.
And
Yes.
I wouldn't take my car into the dealer only because I know that once it's there, oh, hey, we also took the opportunity to check your engine filter, and it's kind of dirty, so you want us to go ahead and change that, and we can also top off your fluids, and we noticed it's been a while since you had your car inspected, so why don't you give us an extra $500 so we can go ahead and do that?
Yep.
I don't want to take my car to the dealer. I mean, God.
Yeah, who does? Yeah, who wants to take that time? Who's got time for that crap?
I agree. You're not going to get any dealer love from me.
That's a fundamental difference with Tesla. They're not trying to make money off their service centers.
Yeah.
Not right
so,
now.
in fact, they will do what they can to keep your car away from there.
I do think at some point we're going to see that change a little bit.
Maybe.
Tesla try and make a little more money on the back end than they are now. But they're doing the right thing now.
All right, there's another 5-year prediction. We'll see. 2020, let's debate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's only natural, though, don't you? I mean, do you think that they can stay in business only making the profit on the car at the front end?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see how they implement that. Will it be through, like, upgrades and accessories and things? Because it's not going to be so much for repairs and things.
Right.
I mean,
we'll see. And the Model S is going to be the real test case because there won't be as much money built into that vehicle as there is, or the Model 3, excuse me, as there is built into the Model S.
But I still think.
I bet you're wrong.
I still think it is. I still think, to something Evan said, it's still in Tesla's best interest to keep cars away from their service. Because there's not a lot of them, so they have a lot less overhead that they have to maintain.
Right. When their service network right now is very small compared to obviously a major car company that has hundreds or thousands of dealers across the U.S. Sure.
Right.
I'm not saying Tesla's doing anything wrong. I'm saying that down the line, some evil asshole in accounting is going to go, guys, we need to start selling engine shampoos for
Yeah.
Your update that says you need to bring your car in for an engine shampoo. Someone's going to think, and hopefully they'll rot in hell.
It'll be 4 years after Elon Musk leaves the company, not before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Elon will be.
As soon as Apple buys them.
Oh, well,
boy.
Thank you for saying Apple, Evan, because our next story is about the much link-baited Apple car. Now, we've you know what? I'm not going to say we on the show. I have led the way in saying that I think the Apple car is complete bullshit. I don't think it's happening. I think Apple's doing something else. And then something like this happens. This week, it was discovered by the Wall Street Journal that Apple has hired a former Chrysler senior vice president named Doug Betts into their operations department. Betts has a history as a global head of operations, product and service. He was a supply chain manager. He's worked for Nissan, Toyota, and Chrysler. This is a guy that from the car business. Now, does that mean that they're making a car? I turn it over to you, panel. What do you think?
Or does that mean they're just working on their infotainment?
I'm just glad they didn't hire Bob Lutz.
To take a phrase from medicine, when you hear hoofbeats, it's usually a horse. Every once in a while it's not, but
yeah,
it
I agree.
certainly looks like a horse.
I agree.
All right, so here's my thought on this. The new Apple headquarters, the big circle, the flying saucer people are calling it, it's really a test track.
Yes. Yes. It's so obvious now.
I know. Now that you think about it, it makes perfect sense.
I like that.
It was either that or a particle collider, but I think I'm leaning towards automobiles. Yes.
I still can't wrap my head around why Apple would want to get in the car market.
No, the whole thing, that whole thing, it seems really stupid.
I have a feeling. The sensible part of my brain says they're just hiring talent so that they can work with the car companies better. They're hiring former car people so that they can dovetail in with them and sell them stuff that maybe they're resisting. I don't know.
Well, and that may make sense for operations department more so than manufacturing or development or things like that, which is where you might expect him to go if it's more in the car development side of things.
Right.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows exactly how I don't know how their structure's laid out.
Yeah. No one does, right? I mean, no one really knows what Project Titan really is. So we're left to speculate. And I hate that Apple speculation that goes on constantly. But
And yet you do it.
Yeah, every
honestly,
time.
this is like a 50% mea culpa. I had so strongly denied the idea that the Apple car was even possible. I thought it only responsible to come on the show and go, well, this looks kind of... Maybe I'm
You're
wrong.
gonna head.
But I'm
Head
going
in
to
your bed.
I'm going to stick to my guns.
All right.
Do you have guns?
I think it's an Apple car. So speaking of fictional car companies, all the rave this week has been for a website that launched for a company calling itself Faraday Future. Now, for everything that Faraday Future has done, keep in mind a 12-year-old with their mom's credit card could have done. Set up a website, send out some press releases, kind of made some little waves.
Mm-hmm.
I know it took me hours to plow through the specs of this upcoming vehicle they're going to build on that webpage.
Is that were you sleeping for hours?
There's
then-
nothing there. It doesn't say anything.
No.
Yes, it does. It clearly says, and I quote, 100% electric, zero emission, fully connected. What the hell more do you want?
Right.
And
35 miles
what does more connected than a Tesla mean?
knows?
Whoa! I don't understand. Are they going to wire it to your brain?
But you know what?
I don't even know what that means.
I love Russell's setup. This week's Tesla killer. That's exactly what it is. It's just fucking get in line. This week it's Faraday. Next week it'll be the next whatever.
It'll be some three-wheeled thing from a high school student in Nebraska.
The tulip.
I just, this kind of talk is all good, but it's a lot better when you actually built it. And anyone who's even superficially looked at the development that Tesla has gone through over the years knows that building a car from scratch is anything but easy. It's exceptionally difficult. And Tesla's thrown a ton of money, a ton of really smart people, and made a lot of really good moves, and probably had a little bit of good luck to get to where they are now.
And let's not forget that Tesla didn't start with the Model S. I
Right.
mean, they started with Lotus shells that they put, electric guts into, and those were not what you would consider. I mean, I know they were expensive, but they were not what I would consider well-appointed, high-end luxury cars.
They're very small.
They were very small, and they were just proof of concept, and they raised money for the next phase. And so, yeah, for someone to think that they can just start up with a Model S, yeah, that's not going to happen. You go talk to Mr. Fisker. I think he'll set you straight.
And the bar is set so high now.
So,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick, please.
Yeah, so there's a few things here, though. If you're an angel investor or a venture capitalist and you missed out on Tesla, you might be looking for somebody to invest in. And so now these guys come along and say, hey, we're going to follow in Tesla's footsteps and do something like they did. It might be pretty relatively easy to get some money. Maybe they won't be successful, but they'll have jobs for a few years and some fat paychecks.
Yeah.
And they've hired some guns. I mean, this, while I make the joke about a 12-year-old his mom's credit card, they've hired people from Tesla to work there. They've got a designer from BMW's I division working with them. They have a former Lamborghini, Ferrari designer. So it stinks a little bit of Fisker to me, but they've got people that have actually worked on vehicles there. So it's still, again, that's a big leap from making a pretty drawing to building a factory and making something a lot of times over and over and over again.
And the concept that they have the picture of, I mean, honestly, it looks like it came from Blade Runner or something. I mean, really, it's just, it's a future special effects vehicle is what it is.
Yeah, completely impractical to actually make, but it looks cool because you can draw pictures of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's my hoverboard.
And your self-air pumping Nikes.
Yes.
There you go. Well, speaking of pumping things up, our final story this week is all about statistics. Just because Danny isn't here, from the Korea Observer, one of our favorite news sources, reported this week that Hyundai and Kia ranked third in 2014 global hybrid car sales.
How did they both rank third?
That's what I was waiting for. So it all comes down to how you're defining hybrid and global and the period of year. I think the period of year went from like June to July. No. And in that time, these Hyundai and Kia sold 77,473 hybrid cars. Now, that's third place. First place sold 1.16 million. Second place, a dismal second place, sold 279,000 hybrids. So honestly, 77,000 hybrids is third, but that's a really, really distant third. That's like
you take away the million from Toyota, and they still sold more.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my cash cow theory. You guys poo-pooed it, but looking at this, I was talking earlier about
the cash cow is getting a little old, and she ain't putting out as much milk anymore. And I think they better start thinking about a new cow.
Wow, we got really metaphorical here.
Yeah. Okay, my my Safari just kind of like hosed up. There was one line in here I really wanted to reference, and for some reason my page like half loads and then dies.
Well, let me read that
keyword.
And maybe it's the same thing.
It had to do with a reference to Hyundai introducing the world's first hybrid vehicle in 2009. Can you guys find that?
Huh?
Hyundai Motors and Kia Motors entered the market by launching what they claim was the world's first hybrid model, the Avante, and the Forte LPI in July of 2009.
Yeah. So where does that put my 2004 Prius?
It doesn't exist, Tony. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You've been erased from history.
Was this a North Korean newspaper?
Wait, I'm fading out.
And was it designed by their supreme leader?
I don't know.
Yes, it's actually North Korean. They get to rewrite history.
Exactly. Now, there's an interesting sentence at the end here. It says that Hyundai and Kia earlier said that they're going to increase their lineup of environmentally friendly cars to 22 models by the end of 2020 in a bid to emerge as the global #2 in market share.
I can't trust anything they say in this article.
I know.
I think probably the safe thing too. Yeah.
From the Korea Observer, yes.
Did you get it, Tony? Are you good now?
No, Safari's still hosed, but it's our last article, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. So thank you.
Is your Safari running on Windows 8?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's not.
On a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
That smell is your CPU.
Dear.
So, that's our show for this week, kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should end every show with an article from the Korea Observer.
I can't make that promise, but I will take that challenge.
Yeah.
I can't promise, but
That or Fat Weasel Press.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, let's do some shout-outs and get out of here so that we can drink beer without being on video. Evan, any shout-outs this week?
Nah, just my usual. Well, if anyone wants to go to my Flickr page and see all the almost 4,000 photos I posted from our recent trip, you're welcome. I'm trying to narrow down to my favorites, but it's flickr.com/efusco, and you can find them there. How's that for a shout-out?
Nice. Nice.
Be careful talking about photos. Russell might get all up at you, like he did me a couple weeks ago. Tony shows a photo that I took that got published, and Russell's like, "What? Oh no! Pat's going after my gig."
I really am like the token grumpy old man. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, really.
I think so. That's the thing.
You're more like the archetypical grumpy old man, I think. The standard by which all others are judged.
Thank you. Well, I'll take that. As long as I am the touchstone.
Yeah.
As long as I am at the apex of that pyramid, I am. I don't want to be a shitty grumpy old man. I want to be the best. That's fine. Speaking of Patrick Connor, Patrick, your shout-outs this week, sir, I'm sure are extra interesting.
Yes, so I would like to give out a shout out to Portland General Electric. They're one of the major sponsors of the new Electric Avenue that I mentioned earlier. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. That's it.
Nice one. Definitely want to follow oeva.org on Facebook and on Twitter because they put out lots of great news. Not coincidentally, by someone we know very well. Mr. Schaefer, I bet you have some interesting plugs this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Facebook page. I want to give a shout out to Dorothy Michalewski, who we know, of course.
Hey, Dorothy.
Yeah, Dorothy's great, and Lee, of course, Lee Moon, Michael Garrett, John Breeling. Good to have you on board. Hope you're watching the show, as well as Sherry Anderson. You know, we really do look at it and appreciate all the likes, all the replies, all the feedback that we get on our Facebook page, which, of course, is facebook.com/whatdrivesus. So if you're watching the show and you haven't yet given us a like on Facebook, just do a search for What Drives Us and give us a like.
Yeah, facebook.com/whatdrivesus, all one word. Yay!
And I want to give a shout out to all the people who left us voicemails this week. Russell, who was that? And there we go. Yes. That's 575-51 Drive. Somebody, you know what? We throw this challenge down every week. We don't care what you say, who you are. 575-51 Drive.
I don't know.
Dial us. I don't care. Oh, I do have to mention, I was at work the other day, and Russell butt dialed me, except the phone was in his front pocket. You figure that out. Yeah,
Nice.
I went there.
So not right. Well, as always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. You can visit him at manthing.com. buys his music on iTunes or CD Baby or wherever you find it because he's awesome. Also, I want to point out my missing co-host has a little business. If you have a Prius and you need accessories for it, the very best place to go on the planet is priuschat.com/shop. The Prius Chat Shop, which has a name that's still hard for me to say after 5 years. The Prius Chat Shop has everything you need for your Prius. Do visit them at priuschat.com. Let's see what else. If you download us on iTunes, leave us a review. Thank you. Visit us at whatdrives.us. You can download or stream the show from there. You can watch it on video. You can download it on audio. You can listen to it on audio. It's all there. It's all good. There's even links from our news every week, so that you can look at the links themselves and go, "What the hell were those guys thinking? That's not what this says."
I have no idea.
You can make some sense out of the Korea Observer article that we missed.
It's the beer.
It's the beer. Yeah, it is. Evan
Beer.
Busco,
Sir.
Patrick Connor, Tony Schaefer, thank you so much for being on the show. Awesome show this week. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks to all of you for watching and for listening every week. Download us next week and find out what drives
us.
Oh, and I screwed that up.
Oh!
I hate it when I do that. It's so hard to do both, you know?
We'll get it.
I think fat weasels are what drive Tony.
Exactly.